Welcome back to day 2, and we're ready to paint, guys. It is the day. I am so excited. I hope yesterday's video was great. I hope that you posted some comments. I'm going to be reading those below. And remember, the supply list, if you're not sure where it's at, it's in the description of video 1. I will also put it in this description as well. So if you are, getting a late start or whatever the case may be, you don't have to struggle to find it. So the main thing you need to have is either, again, it does not have to be expensive. I'm actually using a canvas that I had a pre-drawn paint party on already. And then you can either go grab some leaves outside for your stencils, whatever the case may be, or have some stencils that you might have laying around the house. And then just some big dollar store brushes, but you really just want to be creative, okay? So we are going to get started. I'm gonna move the camera a little bit different so that you can see exactly what I'm doing. Any type of canvas, any type of wood, you could actually even do this on paper. It doesn't have to be serious, but what I do want you to do is put on some music, grab you some coffee. Oh my gosh, Lion King and Lion King. Can y'all tell I love the Lion King, obsessed with the Lion King? So if you want to put on some music, and then I also like to put on a diffuser. I love painting when I have a diffuser on, and there's so many different things that I'll put in there just to make the experience better, right? So just go ahead and just, have fun. So I'm gonna turn this to where you can see it, and we're gonna get started. All right, I'm so excited to paint with you. Okay guys, this is where we have so much fun. So grab some brushes. I have some bubble wrap here. I also have a toothbrush. I am obviously not brushing my teeth with that. And then I have some different color paints. Now you kind of use the colors that you want. Guys, here's the thing. Remember we talked about in the first video about the kind of mood you want this to have. Is it a really, are you going through some hard times and this quote's gonna help you? Is it more of a bright colored where it's just kind of silly fun? Whatever the case may be, but here's the technique I like to use. So I like to take a little bit of paint, and this is my favorite part. And again, I'm just using an old canvas. You could use a piece of wood. And as long as the colors are kind of in the same family, meaning that, blues, greens, purples, those are all cool colors, which means that they're gonna blend nicely. If I was to just put out yellows, reds, blues, greens, I would end up with a huge pile of brown when I'm done. If you want brown, that's fine, go for it. But if you're not looking for brown, then don't do that. Pick either all the cool colors, which are blues, greens, purples, or pick all of the warm colors, which are reds, yellows, and orange. Oh my gosh, my brain stopped. So you're just taking it and doing a little figure 8. So I'm just kind of throwing it on there. And again, this can change as many times as you want it to. I have had that relaxed one that I did with Gabby Bernstein. I had the whole thing with mostly blue metallics and purple metallics, and then I ended up doing a bunch of stenciling and I didn't like it. So I painted a huge, that's why we have that white on there. I painted that big thing of white on top of it, but left the borders. And then I can see all of the details from what was under it. And I love the way it turned out. So whatever you want to do, I'm just kind of creating an ombre effect right now. Sorry if this is making a little bit of a movement on the camera, trying to be a little calmer. Is there such thing as a calmer painter? And I said this in a video and somebody mentioned how much it really helped them, so maybe it'll help you too. As creative people, as artists, as crafters, maybe we're just getting into this and we found out, we love it. Which, I have a friend who, before she started teaching paint parties, she'd only painted 5 times, and she's a grandma. And she is rocking out paint parties because she just felt this passion for, doing stuff like this, right? And all I did was just kind of blend that. So if you're wondering what colors I used, So my point is, you know, as creative people, we are problem solvers. We are problem solvers, and we can make, you know, if we're sitting here and we're like, oh, I don't know about that, let it dry, and in 5 minutes, change it. You know, it's not, it's, you know, that's the great thing about being a creative person, is we can use our resources, we can be crafty, we can be creative. If I don't have these color paints, I can go to Walmart and buy the 50-cent paints. I can, you know, use what I have. I remember one of my first things when I was around 13 years old, I painted my entire dresser with a toothbrush because I didn't have paintbrushes yet. I started, you know, quickly my parents got me some paintbrushes, but they were like, oh my gosh, she's serious about this, you know? And then actually I painted a Simba. I painted a Lion King mural, was one of my first things. I asked my parents, I said, oh my gosh, I really think I want to paint a mural on my wall. Is that okay? And to my surprise, they said, sure, go for it. And I've never looked back. Now I paint any wall, anything that I can. But you know, I think it takes that, and I'm pretty, you know, now that we have a house that we own and we're not renting, for a long time we were renting, so it was hard to just let, you know, be free in our house. But even Pixie, you know, now she'll ask to paint something. She doesn't even ask anymore. She just starts painting on a wall. Like sometimes I'm like, these are off boundaries. Like this area is off boundaries. Okay, a couple of ways you can do bubble wrap. You can just paint it on, which is not as fun as just dipping and going. But then you can just take it and it's gonna pull up some of the paint we were working on, which is kind of nice because then you start to get some turquoise into the purples. You start to get some purples into the turquoise, and just kind of place it wherever you want. Or let's say you have a toothbrush and you want to start scratching in some of this. You could also use a palette knife. They have palette knives at Michael's. You can get them for about $3. Very inexpensive. And they also have like a big pack, and I'll show y'all. I have a big pack I'm using for a paint party this Friday. No, this Saturday. The Friday paint party, we're doing this. We're doing painted prayers with a group of about 12 ladies. And one guy. There's one guy coming. And then Saturday, we're going to be using the palette knives. So you could just scratch through if you wanted, just to make extra textures. Really, guys, there's no wrong way. It's really just about having fun. Scratching through, having some fun. And then let me show you the palette knife. We'll see what that does. I recommend having a paper towel when you're using your palette knife. And this is just an inexpensive one I got from Michael's. I think I paid $3 for a pack of like 5 different ones. Just dip it on there and you can just pull, and it's gonna pull some of that paint. So maybe you wanna do it as kind of the border. Oh, it's so much fun. It just has this feeling. You know, like sometimes when you know, like popping bubble wrap, like it just has like a feeling of like, you just want to do it, you know, you just want to, and this just makes you want to just push and play. It's all about just playing and not worry. I mean, this is very abstract. Our quote, basically the idea here is to have a contrasting color between your quote and your background, okay? So you don't want to put, obviously, a purple quote on here or a turquoise quote because it's not going to show up. Same thing with, you know, you have to be careful. If I was doing this all in yellows, I would not do a white quote because it's not going to show up. So to really like maximize it and make your quote look the best and really stand out, then you want to make sure you're doing a contrasting color. So I also have, that was 24 karat gold. It's a metallic. It's one of my favorites. If you have seen any of my lives, you've probably seen me use it. It's pretty much in all my paintings. And then now I'm taking this one, which is also a bright metallic paint, but it's a glorious gold. So it's a little bit different. And I'm just kind of doing the same thing with that palette knife. Again, you don't have to have a palette knife. I'm just really having some fun here, really, honestly. So you can just kind of go wherever. And you can just play with this however you want, guys. There's no wrong way. If you have some leaves from outside, start adding those on there. Pretty much however you want. So now it's stencil time. So I grabbed a couple of stencils. You can, again, use leaves, use whatever you want. This obviously is one of my favorite stencils. You can see it has been used over and over. I think I bought this stencil at Michael's a couple years ago. But since then I've ordered tons off of Deco Art. I've ordered tons from Essential Stencil. Pretty much, you know, you can go wherever. And Essential Stencil, I have a coupon code for you. So if you want to order something in the future, that's where I did my big welcome sign. I'm just gonna lay this right here. And I'm actually gonna pick a different turquoise or a different blue to kind of make it stand out. I might do some blues and purples. So this is where you want to just be kind of careful because, again, I am doing this keeping in mind the end goal. The end goal is to make sure that let's see if that's going to work. Oh, yeah, that's good. This is a aquamarine. As you can see, I haven't really used it yet. It's a texture aquamarine. The goal is to keep in mind that this, oh, and for the paper towel, that was for this. So that you can keep your palette knife clean because it is so much fun when you can scrape it and it's totally clean. But the whole goal of this is to keep in mind that, you know, I don't want contrasting colors yet. I want all my colors to kind of go together because whenever I put my quote down, I want my quote to stand out. I want these to be kind of secondary. So I'm just taking a messy brush. If you need to get a new brush or clean it, you can. But I don't know, I just like to work with messy brushes. Again, this is art, your words, and however you do it is okay. The main thing is, are you having fun? If you're not having fun right now, then I want you to take a deep breath with me. It can change. It does not have to be perfect right now. Like Bob Ross says, happy little accidents, you know? If I pull this up and it looks like crap, guess what? I'm just gonna paint right over it. I'm gonna squirt some more paint on it, let it dry, and try again. So guys, remember, it's not about perfection. It's really about the process of, first off, as I'm thinking about those words, as I'm thinking about what I want to create, as I'm thinking about, you know, the prayer, the quote, the scripture, and I'm making this, it's like it's sealing it into my mind so that, you know, I'm doing the verse, maybe it's okay to be not okay, the song lyric. So when I think about this, you know, I'm like thinking about how sometimes it's okay to not be okay. And God still loves me and he still has a great plan for me, even though things aren't going exactly as I want them right now. We all have different seasons in our life. We have different times when things are grateful, you know, when things are really good. I always tell my daughter, I'm like, when things are good, be grateful because we're human. And, you know, unfortunately, it's not the world we live in where it's all rainbows and sunshine, right? You know, there are hard times for everybody. Everybody has a story. Everybody has something they're going through. I mean, if you think about it, like sometimes we think ours is the worst story. You know, what we're going through right now is the worst. And then, you know, I'll think about my my sweet cousin, you know, and how she lost her daughter, my second cousin. And, you know, just things that are unbearable, you know, like that's hard. Like what, you know, things that I'm going through, you know, just puts it in perspective. And again, it doesn't mean to diminish what I'm going through right now. But it also kind of sheds a light on, you know, what's really important, you know, and it's okay to not be okay. You know, it's okay even if you're going through a hard time and it's not the worst, you know, in the world. You can still be upset about it. You can still be okay and take it out in your art and have that, you know, passion and create something to help you to get better through it. That's what it's all about, guys. And then to recognize and then be grateful daily. And remember that God has our back. And we're going to hope that this looks good. Oh, yay. I like it. Okay. All right, so there's the stenciling part. I just kind of throw my stencil over there and let it dry. I don't really wash them. You can wash yours if you want. I think it is a pain in the booty, so I do not like to wash mine. So here is my first part of my background, and you can see that kind of has a texture. And again, my words are going to be in crisp white with probably some highlighting, which I will show y'all that as well. So what I want you to do now is finish up, you know, any textures. If you want to go back in, you know, maybe you want to add some more, you know, toothbrush marks on it. Maybe you want to go in and put a border. I just want you to play around with it, but basically get your background done, okay? So wherever you're at in this stage, I want you on day 2, that's when you know it's a fun day, right? If your hands look like this, you were successful today, very successful. So on day 2, I want this part to be done with however you do it, just a background. Don't overthink this, because tomorrow, day 3, we're going to start talking about how we're going to do the words and how you can make the words happen. If you don't, number 1, have a vinyl cutter. Number 2, have stencils. I'm going to be talking to you a lot about that and getting you prepared for that. So let's let this dry. Let's let this rest. And then I will see you day 3 tomorrow. So put in the comments if you completed this and then what was your favorite part, okay? So in the comments below, please put your favorite part. I'm going to be going by and looking at each comment and seeing what you put as your favorite part, and then be ready for your inbox tomorrow for challenge day number 3. All right, see you then.